Very warm good afternoon to everyone.
Good afternoon.
Healthcare has traditionally been provider centric. Over the last decade, we have spoken about becoming patient centric. Today, with conversational AI, we have an unprecedented opportunity to make hospitals truly patient centered, not by replacing clinicians, but by making healthcare more accessible, responsive, personalized, and compassionate. The question is no longer whether hospitals should adopt AI. The real question is how do we adopt AI while preserving empathy, trust, and clinical excellence? Conversational AI becomes the digital front door of the hospital. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this monthly DHN Town Hall. Today, we are tackling a question that sits at the heart of patient experience. How do hospitals communicate with patients at scale without losing personal touch? With OPD no-show rates running as high as almost 32% across mid to large Indian hospitals, and the patients increasingly expecting service in their own language, the voice-first conversational AI is moving from pilot to the priority. Joining me today is an esteemed panel that brings together the CIO, COO, clinical operations, and the CEO vantage points, plus the technology builder's perspective. I welcome all my panelists, Mr. Nandkishore, CIO IT, Continental Hospitals, Mr. Rahul Datta, Group CEO, Ankura Hospital, Dr. Sai Mahadev, Unit Head, Medical Operations, Renova Hospitals, he's yet to join. My brother-in-arms, Wing Commander MK Bose, Chief Executive Officer, Amur Hospitals, Hyderabad, Mr. Sudhakar Jadhav, Chief Operations Officer, Kim Shansen Hospitals and Kim Shikara Hospitals, and Mr. Dhruv Mehra, CEO, co-founder, Pipe AI. Welcome, gentlemen. Let's get into it.
Thank you, Sergeant.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I
Thank you, Dr.
invite
Vijay.
Mr. Nandkishore, Chief Information Officer, Continental Hospitals. Mr. Nandkishore, as CIO, you sit at the center of patient engagement technology stack. Where does voice AI fit alongside your existing HIS, EMR, and call center systems? And what integration challenges should hospitals brace for if somebody is planning to adopt AI? Your perspectives, please.
Thank you, Vijay, and thanks, DHN, for giving the opportunity to be on this panel. Voice AI should
Mr. Nandkishore,
be
please
the.
unmute yourself.
I unmuted. You're able to hear me?
Yes.
We are able to hear you.
Yeah. Uh, to start with, voice AI should not be treated as
Mr.
another
Nandkishore, we're
communication
not
channel.
able to hear you.
But it's loud and clear, Dr. Vijay.
I
Pretty clear for us. Probably you're
Dr.
on a
Vijay, you're able to
Bluetooth.
hear me?
There
Dr.
might be
Vijay, are
some
you able to hear
technical
me?
snag. I'll get back to you, Mr. Nandkishore. I
Yeah.
eliminate upon Mr. Rahul Datta, Group Chief Operations Officer, Ankura Hospital. From an operations lens, what exactly does Ankura lose patients today between scheduling, care, and follow up? And how much of that is recoverable?
So, very good
Mr.
afternoon
Rahul.
to our audience. Good afternoon to all our panelists. Dr. Vijay, first of all, am I loud and clear? Am I audible?
Absolutely, crystal clear.
So, I would say not just for Ankura, but most of the hospital chain that we see today, we do face, at various stages of patient acquisition or patients coming to us, or I would say to start with, at the first place, we have patients, who are already requirements or having requirements of treatments across the specialties that we offer. So we lose patients first of all by not reaching out to them. We lose patients at a stage where they reach out to us, but we are not able to cater to them. It could be in the form of having a lead at call center. It could be a form of they reached out and we could not cater to them. We could not give an appointment to them. It could be that they've taken an appointment after that, and then we could not follow up on them, and they did not come to the hospitals. That leads to no show. And then further, they have come to the hospital, and after that, We have given one, episode of service, and after that there is a further requirement, and they did not turn up again. So there are various stages through which we actually have patients, and at the same time we lose them if we actually do not retain them. And I would be, happy to share that we have been able to plug in some of the gaps with the help of the digital technology transformation that we are having through ERP system. At the same time, also adding AI into some of these layers, and probably it starts with a non-Ankura patient or non-registered patient becoming an Ankura patient first, and then how do we nurture? So it gets divided, Dr. Vijay, into two phases. One is how do you acquire a non-registered or non-Ankura patient or new patients, and how do you nurture your existing patients? And you can lose in both the ends, right? We can elaborate further, but at the same time, since the point of how much is recoverable, I would say that if it is a nurturing patient, 70 to 80% of that is definitely recoverable. It is because the patient's clinical needs are already there. Probably it's the process, it's the human intervention, it's the technology which can help us plug them in, which can retain them better. Uh, Patients who are yet to be reached by the hospital or the unit, that is where probably we can even lose more, and we don't know how much of that pie is which is available in the market. So that is something, also another huge aspect. Through all these modalities, all these tools, we can actually capture them and increase our patient retention, and not to mention the last part of it, patient satisfaction, patient engagement. If we do not engage our patients, if we do not lead to the patient experience, which also can be done with the help of AI and its various features and qualities, even then we can lose out patients there, which is absolutely recoverable. It is up to us how do we drive them.
Thank you, Rahul. That's a great effort from Angura Hospitals. Mr. Nandkishore, I'm coming back to you again. As CIO, you sit at the center of the patient engagement technology stack. Where does this conversational or voice AI fit alongside your existing HIS, EMR, and call center systems? And what integration challenges the hospital should brace for, and what integration challenges you have come across? Your perspective.
Yeah, you are able to hear me, Dr. Vijay, now? Is my voice audible?
Mr.
I can
Kishore?
hear you, Kishore.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dr. Vijay, can you
others.
hear
He is able to hear you. Dr. Vijay, can you hear him?
Yes, yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, okay. So my
I think
perspective is
there is some
AI, voice
technical
AI
snag with
should.
Mr. Kishore. So I'll get back to you, Wing Commander Bosa. As CEO of more hospitals, how do you weigh technology investment like conversational AI against competing properties of your annual roadmap? As you're aware, this is a new thing which is coming up. So how exactly does it fit in?
Thank you,
Your
Dr.
thoughts,
Vijay, for
please.
asking this question, and good afternoon to all the panelists, and thanks, DHN, for inviting me. Well, that's one question that I think every CEO faces in our day to day life with regard to purchases and investments into different fields. Everyone talks about whether it is viable, sustainable, or not. But the fact of the matter is that in today's world, something which is going to help immensely patient care is something which needs a priority. And especially when in today's world, when we have people coming in from in different parts of the country, and we face a difficult challenge of trying to understand a language, conversational AI is a big boon. So, as a CEO, I would never evaluate a technology, especially in the field of IT, when IT is playing a major role in today's healthcare industry. I evaluate it as a strategic investment in patient care. That's the first thing. I can understand that we all have to take into cognizance and understand what is the priority. There could be a purchase of a cath lab, there could be a purchase of other machinery and equipments, clinical equipments. We could think about an infrastructure development. We could think about many things. But when it comes to voice AI or conversational AI, and it comes to my table, I don't ask whether it is innovative. I ask whether it makes the hospital meaningful and it is better than the services are going to be improving by this particular investment. That's what the first thing. What makes AI different is that it doesn't improve just one department. It touches upon the entire patient journey, from appointment confirmation and reminders to post discharge follow ups, answering routine patient queries, guiding patients through simple administrative processes. It removes thousands of repetitive interaction that consumes the staff's time every moment in every hospital, I presume. So that is the reason I think this thing, the biggest value wasn't be about reducing manpower. I don't think any artificial intelligence is going to reduce manpower. It is only going to assist and help in performing better. So the real value is allowing our people to focus on work that requires empathy, judgment, and human connection. So the voice AI in that way is the most important factor I would take into cognizance for implementing it. I know that the other purchases also does have a lot of value and a lot of importance, but here I would consider it as the topmost at this point of time, considering that is going to help our staff, our doctors, our administrators in a much bigger way. So, no technology can comfort an anxious family or reassure a worried patient as much as a conversational AI can do. And our teams, therefore, can focus mostly on other parts of the patient care, which is more important to them. So as a CEO, I also look at the scalability and sustainability. If a single investment improves patient experience, if it improves the operational efficiency, it improves staff productivity, and also notwithstanding the fact it will also improve the financial performance together, then it's I can say that it goes beyond an IT project to become a strategic initiative. To my mind, healthcare will always remain a people first industry. Technology should not take into cognizance the human compassion. It should always include, it should be an inclusive, rather empower the compassion that we show towards the patient. It should actually amplify that compassion. If conversational AI helps us to provide faster access, fewer missed opportunities, and a smoother patient experience, while allowing caregivers like us or hospital people to spend more time caring, then that's the investment every forward looking hospital, I think, is going to take care of it. So technology should not replace human compassion. That is what is my belief. It should remove everything that prevents caregivers from delivering it. And conversational AI is just doing that. I would conclude by saying that I have therefore prioritized investment that simultaneously improve three outcomes. And those three outcomes would be better patient experience, better caregiver productivity, and better financial sustainability. Very few investments, I think, in today's world can improve all three. But voice AI or conversational AI has the potential to do so. And therefore, I think it is a very, very important investment on my part or for anybody's part who's dealing in the healthcare industry.
Absolutely, absolutely. I completely agree with you, Vinkamada. Both the human angle has to be there. The conversational AI and human compassion has to go hand in hand towards better outcomes and better patient experience. Now, I'll come back to you, Mr. Kishore. I hope we are audible, and I hope we can hear you.
Are you able to hear me now, Dr. Vijay?
Still, your voice is very feeble.
Dr. Vijay, am I audible?
Others?
Yeah, you're audible now. You're audible.
Am I also
Yeah,
audible?
coming back to you,
Yeah.
as Chief Information Officer, you sit at the center of the patient engagement technology stack. Where does this conversational AI fit alongside your existing HIS, EMR, and other call center systems? And what integration challenges one should look for, and what are the challenges you have come across while getting this conversational AI into your systems? Your perspective, please.
Thank you, Dr. Vijay. First of all, voice AI should never be treated as another communication channel. It should be treated as a friend door of the hospital in this world. For example, let's say that the patient is calling the call center, and we have the standard regular IVRs in place, choose one, two, three, etc. for various other things. Now, instead of giving all these options, why don't we have a voice AI where it can intelligent the call, understand the call, and act accordingly. At the same time, already the hospitals have doing a significant investment on the digital ecosystem in the hospital, like EMR, EHR, and other chatbots and other applications, whatever they have in hospitals. So the real challenge comes with the integration. Majority of the hospitals are still using the legacy systems, where integration becomes the real-time challenge because of the adoption to the old technology. They are not ready to integrate with the systems. All these challenges. Where we can look at having a voice AI is where the patient tries to reach out to the hospital at the first line. There we can have the voice AIs enabled. So, and the real time integration with the system is much needed to adopting this technology, because we have to give the concrete information to the patient whenever they are calling, and when we are using these voice AIs. So that my advice is, don't automate the broken workflows. First, standardize the workflows, and then we adopt the AI part.
Thank you, Mr. Kishore. That's very nice putting your perspective. Let me come back to you, Sudhakar.
Yeah.
You're the chief operating officer, Kim's group of hospitals. You're running hospitals both in Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, and three more other states. Now, from the operating lens, operating across multiple Kim's facilities, how important is multilingual capability, especially with relate to Telugu and other regional languages in your patient engagement strategy with respect to conversational AI?
Absolutely. I think we have been piloting with one of the AI startup. So they are helping us to kind of fix up a lot of voice AI per se. So there is a voice agent who would actually take up the patient's call. But I think what is important, first we speak about the language per se, right? It's extremely important to the have the essence of language, because let's say in Hyderabad people speak typical Telugu and it is a mix of Hindi English, but whereas go towards, let's say, typically any Andhra district, let's say Guntur, they just speak Telugu there. And of course, when you speak about Maharashtra, or you speak about Bangalore or Karnataka, they speak Kannada and typical Marathi. So, so it's extremely important that though the cultural ethos of Kim's hospital across the group is same, we look at the patient experience very seamless in all the hospitals, be it Hyderabad or be it Guntur. The way we receive the patient or the way we treat the patient, I think the SOPs protocols are pretty much standardized, right? But what is of extreme important is your intent, right? I mean, the intent is actually trying to help out the patient both clinically and non-clinically. From that perspective, language becomes extremely important. So the AI, we have tried different modules in terms of using different language agents. I mean, the AI agents particularly. I think we are still in a pilot phase. It's a learning phase predominantly. So I think there are early indicators that it's going to stay for a long haul in healthcare. Because what happens is, as if you typically look at the fundamentals of CRM, right, it's extremely important for you to kind of engage the patient rather than scouting for a new patient. It's extremely important that your old customer is being taken care first, and then of course, even if you look at the cost of acquiring a new customer compared to holding on to your old customer, acquiring a new customer is much higher, right? So while the live agents or while the human agents are actually dealing with our existing customers, we are deploying this technology to kind of acquire new customers for our hospitals, or for the matter of fact even for clinics, right? So I think from that perspective, language plays extremely important role. um, I think the AI agents are still in a learning phase, though there are a lot of bottlenecks still. I think we'll get there some point in time.
Thank you, Sudhakar. That's really wonderful. Let me come back to the industrial perspective. Dhruv, you are the CEO and co-founder of Pipe AI. From the builder's side, what does Pipe AI consider a genuinely live and working use case versus with a flashy demo? And what's the gap between the two in Indian hospitals today? Because everybody is more looking towards the conversational AI. But what exactly is your perspective from the builder side?
No, thank you for your question, sir. And first of all, I'm like very humbled to be part of such an esteemed panel. And to actually answer this question, I think there are bits and pieces which all of you have brought up already. Like, for example, AI cannot replace human, at least in healthcare. The best it can do is augment human, make them more productive. Like that's something which I would like to start with. What we see when we started our journey, and even now when we start working with a hospital, I think the point which Mr. Nandakishore ji brought up, that was pretty spot on. AI is a tool. It's a hospital and a startup like ours responsibility to figure out where it is used properly. Starting with that vision is something which brings it from a flashy demo to an actual product which is useful. Knowing where to use it and where not to use it, more importantly. Secondly, when we design a flashy demo, there are so many AI tools available which can get it up and running, a bot which you can talk to. But the real problem comes in edge cases, in things like how your bot handles an emergency call, because it's something very important. Your bot should know what to do in case there is a call failure, in case patient drops off. What when a bot should be very intelligent to know that this is the time when they should bring in an expert human into the call. And also, it's not about just a voice AI bot which is talking to patients, but it's about the complete harness around it. What goes before this, during this, and after this. In some workflows, we see that just a simple WhatsApp message does wonders. Whereas in some messages or in some communication, a very educational video does a better job than a voice AI call. And there are very specific cases, like for example, appointment booking. That's where I think voice AI fits in right well and does the job perfectly. Addressing it from a different perspective, specifically from Indian point of view, I think what brings AI from flashy demo to an actual in production system is how well integrated it is. Most of the panelists here run hospitals which are not standalone hospitals but multi branches hospitals. The data which is being captured there is not always standardized because it's us who are feeding in data. Humans make mistake. Humans are lazy many times. They're always busy. So data is also very fragmented, entered wrongly. The way you are integrated or way your AI is integrated, and the way it can cross-check data before committing something, the way a AI can take responsibility of saying the words which it is saying, I think is what makes an AI mature from a flashy demo to a in production system. Setting up right guardrails, setting up emergency escalation, setting up provisions for a human to interrupt and take over the phone call are the kind of harnesses which needs to be built around voice AI for it to be like really useful to people.
I completely agree. It should be as good as like a human directly talking to the clientele kind of a thing, rather than they should get that feel like it is not a technology. It's definitely a fellow human kind of a thing interaction. That is what they're expecting. Thank you, Dhruv. Let me get back to you, Mr. Rahul. No shows are a direct revenue leak. We all agree, like whenever we look for patients, if they're not turning up, there is definitely going to be a revenue leak. What kind of ROI would convince a coup to invest in voice AI for appointment reminders and follow-ups? And over what time frame are you looking at in case you're planning to implement?
So again, Dr. Vijay, as we discussed in my first question that you had asked, no shows again can be of patients who are new patients to any hospital, or it could be an existing patients. We must look at it no shows or such kind of patients who are to be acquired from a lens of not CEO alone, I would say, but more from the lens of CMO, as a head of marketing and sales as well, who would rather give more emphasis to it. So, because here, like Sudhakar mentioned, I would actually rather look at a cost per lead, which is, for existing patient and for a new patient, which I potentially losing. So here, if you look at from a cost perspective, I would look at any new patient's cost. If it is costing me less than 20% of my overall average ticket size per patient for any new patients, and if it is an existing patients, which is our existing patient but not turning up because of I would say people or process issues and everything, then probably I would spend 5% of the ticket size that I would rather spend as a part of the OPEX. And if there is a one capital cost to it, probably the return should be not more than 12 to 18 months. We are not able to hear you, Dr. Vijay.
Sir, you are on mute.
Let me come back to you, Nankishore. Thank you, Rahul. That's a great explanation. Mr. Kishore, on the Chief Information Officer, Chief Nursing Officer, and COO, the triangle, in your experience, who should own a voice AI rollout? And where does the ownership tend to break down?
Vijay, one of the biggest misconception most of the hospitals have is the AI projects are IT projects. But as a CIO, technology will just enable it, but the patient experience is owned by the business, right? From my perspective, the CEO should own the business objectives and operational outcomes. When we come to the CNO, it should be the define a clinical communication and standards and safety protocols and escalation workflow. Because in AI, voice AI or any AI what we use, the escalation workflows are very, very critical to be defined. Otherwise, the objective is lost. And the CIO, as a CIO, the platform should be scalable, secured, interoperable with other systems, means integration, talking to other systems available in the hospital. That is the main thing. Generally, the breakdown usually happens when these IT works for the technology, operation focuses on efficiency, and clinical team focuses on the patient safety. If these priorities are not set when by the organization when we are planning for AI implementation, then that doesn't solve the real problems. We should clearly define the KPIs before we start any of the AI projects in an organizations. So each of these departments or the verticals are accountable. Then only we'll be able to achieve what we are looking at.
I completely agree. The voice AI has to be integrated into the systems in such a manner that there should be a seamless interaction happening in all the departments. It should not be isolated as an IT project. I completely agree. It should be integrated to all the departments. Thank you. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. Let me come back to you, Wing Commander Bose. Coming from the background with strong process discipline, what governance or accountability structure would you put around the voice AI deployment to make sure it actually moves the needle? You're mute. Please unmute yours. Yeah.
Well, Dr. Vijay, I think I have grown up with this philosophy from the beginning that every industry, every organization should be process oriented and not person oriented. And that's a strong belief of mine. So, healthcare is also built on processes. And successful processes always have one thing in common, and that is the ownership. Right? So, voice AI, in my mind, should therefore become a part of hospitals' operating process, not an isolated project. Technology without governance quickly becomes another unused AI project, and which should not happen. So, in my mind, the governance should have a model in the hospital to monitor how the conversational AI, which you are going to implement or we are going to implement, should be. It should have a committee wherein we can have the CEO, CO, the direct medical director, the nurse superintendent, the operations manager, the IT person, the quality person, all of this, in notwithstanding also that the finance person should also be there. And there should be a review method that should be implemented, wherein they should have the operational metrics in terms of the call response time, appointment confirmation time, no show reduction time, call abandonment, all of these being monitored, along with the clinical metrics like the medication reminder adherence, follow up compliances, all of patient satisfaction, patient complaints, net promoter scores, all of these should be implemented into that. So only then, and at Amor hospitals also, voice wouldn't, AI wouldn't only bring along the IT department alone. They would encompass, as I said, all of these departments together so that they can be monitored well, they can be governed well, and it can be directed well. So we would also establish clear KPIs before going live. Any appointment confirmations, whether they are getting an improvement, are the patients completing the follow-ups, all this will be monitored. And to my mind, governments also means protecting patient trust in healthcare, privacy, security, and clinical accuracy, which are absolutely non-negotiable. So AI should always operate within clearly defined boundaries. And whenever a conversation becomes clinically sensitive or emotionally complex, it should seamlessly transit to a trained human team member, which I just spoke about, the committee members who will take into cognizance all of this. So most importantly, I feel that governments or the governance that you're talking about is continuous improvement, which we will be instituting through these committee members who will continuously be monitoring all of these aspects, which we will lay down in our KPAs and KPIs. So patient expectations evolve, hospital workflows evolve, technology must evolve alongside them. So unless and until we all move along together, we monitor it seamlessly, we monitor it closely, monitor it without any kind of a gaps, we will not be able to be successful in instituting the conversational AI. If the AI performs exactly the same way as we had thought about 6 months from the time we have gone live, then I would say that we have done a wonderful job. And we should treat AI the same way as we treat a quality improvement processes in our hospitals. Every conversational AI implementation should have the quality measures marked for us to measure and also see how we can improve from time to time. AI stops being a software and becomes an organizational capability that keeps creating value. That should be our motto.
Absolutely. It shouldn't be organizational capability. I completely agree with you, Wing Commander Bose. Let me come back to you, Sudhakar. What live use cases have you seen work well at scale across a hospital network? And what surprised you about adoption by patients or staff? What do you think?
Yeah, so I think for us at KIMS, Dr. Vijay, it's early days, as I told you, right? So we are just getting into use case scenarios of different AI models, right? I mean, when we were actually, going through rounds of different solutions which we would like to have on board to, increase our efficiencies, be it at a, call center level or be it at a patient engagement level in the hospital, we said that we clearly defined that, I mean, let's take this example. If somebody is speaking on a phone, I mean, I think I, as an individual, would not like to speak to a machine. I would like to speak to a human being, right? So that was very clear to the vendor. We said that the after a minute, if the conversation is not going the way my patient or a customer is intending to, he would actually drop the phone. I mean, he would not like to speak to a agent or a bot, especially when it comes to healthcare, right? Because healthcare is a sensitive matter. So that's where I think it's definitely a challenge. I'm sure Drew will be able to answer a lot on this. But I think these were certain bottlenecks. But I think one of the use case, in fact, I would like to give you two use cases which we felt very thrilled about. Was one, the minute a patient gives a call, uh, the agent actually responding by actually speaking out the name. So that means there's a voice recognition happening actually, right? So let's say Dr. Vijay calls up, the phone is picked up by the AI, I mean the AI agent, and it would say, "Good afternoon, Dr. Vijay." So that's the capability which actually got built in. I think that's we were quite thrilled about it. That's one of the use cases. Second, I think we are also working on oncology specific module, especially for patients, right? So we are having this both a patient facing app as well as the doctor facing app. Even while conversing with a patient, I think the app is actually recognizing the voice of the doctor as well as the patients. And end of the consultation, the patient is in a pleasant surprise that is actually receiving patient awareness modules or patient awareness videos which are pertaining to his disease, right? So for example, let's say the conversation is actually happening on um, uh, some cancer of, let's say, rectum cancer, right? So end of the conversation, once the patient is stepping out of the doctor's cabin, is actually receiving patient education awareness videos or modules of that. So I think these are some of the wonderful use case which we were quite thrilled about.
So
I
you
think
are
you're
on
on
mute.
mute, Dr. Vijay.
That's amazing work that is being done by Kim's Hospital, Sudhakar. Thank you for those live examples you have quoted. Let me come back to you, Dhruv. Again, the builder's perspective. How does your Pipe AI think about this DPDP Act, Ayushman Bharat Digital Mission compliance by design? And what guardrails should hospital leaders insist on from any vendor in this place?
Thank you for the question. Uh, these are like two very much required and very technically advanced act which are being like which are active now actually, and the clock is ticking. The deadline starts from November this year. So we as a startup with tech first perspective, we think of both these compliances as an opportunity, and the way we are learning by working with hospitals, it actually presents a great opportunity for tech first startups, where they can bring in their technology knowledge and work with like health leaders to actually make useful product. And I'll take an example for this. So like for example, if you talk about DPDP, and even like combined, DPDP relies on ABDM as an infra. uh, and the biggest one of the biggest point in DPDP is consent management. uh, Now, if you think of it like this, for anything digital, which most of the hospitals are right now, it starts from booking the appointment to digitizing the EMR records and even follow up running marketing campaigns and all of that. We touch Hospitals touch digital touch points at many places. There are not easy ways to capture patient consents at every of these touch points. Alternatives without voice AI, I would say, in my humble opinion, would be buying these digital pads or screens where patients can give these consents, because verbally it's not acceptable. So I believe this opens up a good opportunity for startups like us, and it also helps us rethink how the integration of technology versus legacy healthcare system works. Because to be honest, legacy systems are going to be there in like even next one decade. I can guarantee systems would not go away. We have seen it in tech companies. 1980s, Microsoft has like software from 1980s still working. They're not going to go away in healthcare, but it gives us an opportunity to reinvent and like rethink with health leaders that how to work with these legacy systems and solve challenges, which like where like other countries like Europe failed to implement GDPR that deeply. But with all thanks to ABDM architects, we have a very exciting opportunity to actually make it possible, which provides a very unique angle of win-win-win, where patients get complete control of the data, startups get good opportunity to get into healthcare systems, which is otherwise very difficult for a new age startup, and healthcare also gets a new opportunity to reinvent and rethink how to make life easier for their patients. So I look at this whole angle from a very positive lens, and I see ourselves making good progress. I hear good things from patients who use our tool, So yeah, that's like my humble perspective on this.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful, Dhruv. That's wonderful. Uh, Coming back to you, Mr. Rahul, as we all aware, like whenever we start something new, it has got certain challenges regarding acceptance or whatever. Like to getting into that system itself, it takes a certain amount of time and certain challenges. So across a hospital group, how do you standardize new patient engagement workflow like this without disrupting what's already working at the unit level? Because any new thing might likely to disrupt or change the course of action that is happening already. Your views.
Absolutely, Dr. Vijay, and that is a topic probably we can talk for hours together, isn't it? Um, so I would say that somebody like Kishore, being a CIO, would agree that it starts with the way we actually gather information. So to manage the stakeholder, it starts with, we go back and we align two things. One is from the, service provider or software service provider perspective, and one from our internal perspective, that our scope of service is well defined, well documented, and all the process flow is well documented, and the same is communicated and percolated to the ultimately the service provider, the software vendor. They understand well. While we evaluate, it starts from there that the uh, technology service provider has got immense depth, not just in technology, but also in as a domain expertise as well, how well they perceive. Because we see that a lot of these communication becomes a problem. At the end of the day, when we connect, let's say, with our clinician and with the, let's say, service provider, and then we see the output, sometimes it becomes something else. So that's very, very important for us to ensure that we plug in there, number one. Number two is that based on the process flow, it is important that IT and the management, both of them work together seamlessly on the same page and engage all the stakeholders on the same page before even the implementation starts. That's very, very crucial that we onboard them and they are also on the same side of what we are trying to achieve, so that there is no resistance at the first place, or we at least try to reduce it. And from a CO perspective, I would say, Dr. Vijay, it's very important that we are also hands-on on ground. We must understand that at the end of the day, while we are trying to improve a process flow or introduce a new workflow, is it going to be more cumbersome? Is it going to, making it more difficult for the person who's actually dealing with the patient at the end of the day on ground, or is it going to make his life easier? We should have absolute cognizance of those aspects as well. Otherwise, if it is just going to be beneficial for one aspect but not all, then it's not going to be helpful. We must evaluate whether it is going to be process efficient, whether it is going to be making life easier for our stakeholders as well as for patient and community, whether it is going to increase our efficiency in terms of turnaround times, whether it is going to have better record, um, I would say, retrieval, storage in terms of information, and clinical, I would say, efficiency as well. At the end of the day, all these things, if it is there, then cost comes into picture, of course. But first, if we are able to ensure all these things are there while we are actually trying to put that process flow, from a stakeholder management perspective, from a technology perspective, I would say that it's very important that the process is not introduced in a standalone way, but more it is integrated with the existing software as much as possible. If we can do that, so if it is an AI process flow also or another software tool, if we can just stack it over and above the existing layer, existing process flow, like a cement between the bricks, we put it as an integrated part of the system and then try to implement it. And only we touch a segment of the stakeholder who has to make the adaptation or the changes, rather than trying to make sure that all the stakeholder has to make the changes. And that is where I think the efficiency will come even more. Let's say the example, if you're talking about the first one we said about voice, AI. So getting into appointments or lead generation. So here I will have to probably look at how efficient we can make it in terms of adapting our uh, call center team, our front end team, right? And if that becomes very, very strong and they are able to adapt it and already can access the entire process flow from their existing tools, which could be call center software or the ERP system, rather than having to give them separate logins, separate system, and separate software. Then it becomes all the more cumbersome. So it's very important that we layer it with the existing technology. We onboard the stakeholders, and management and IT are in sync. Then I think it better. Still, it is not going to be easy in terms of culture and in practice, as you said, but it can still be handled in a much better way.
Very well said, Rahul. Absolutely, it should be layered on the existing thing, and it should move simultaneously together to get it ingrained into the organization. Absolutely, very well said.
Right.
Let me come back to you, Mr. Kishore. As the Chief Information Officer, what does your data security and DPDP ABDM compliance checklist should look like before you would greenlight a voice agent handling patient conversations? Because this DPDPM is going to be brutal in the coming years about the data privacy and data security. So, what should be your thought process on setting up a checklist? What are the things in your checklist?
Dr. Vijay, security and patient trust should come before any automation. Before approving any of the voice AI solutions or any AI solutions, we should start with the governance, not with the technology. First, we should ensure the DPDP Act, which means collecting the minimum information from the patients, taking consent at required steps, and defining a clear data retention policies which the patients are aware, and ensuring the secure deletion happens whenever the patient withdraws the consent. Second, when we talk about the ABDM perspective, the solution must align with the consent based data sharing, protecting patient identity and support interoperability between the systems. Third, on the technology front, whatever the AI voice technology we are talking about should have an end-to-end encryption of voice recordings or the transcriptions. We should define a clear role-based access to these recordings or the transcriptions, data localization, and having a secured cloud backup or the cloud data storage. And there should be constant vulnerability assessment should be done by the hospitals at various levels. Excuse me. Gone are those days that we can just say that okay, we do it once in a year, but the things have changed now. We should have a regular vulnerability assessments being done on the IT infrastructure or whatever the applications we are going to use. And first question when we talk to the vendors now or any AI partners, the first question comes is your application or your solution is compliant with DPDP? That is the first question being asked nowadays. Gone are the days we would ask the vendors like, "Are you HIPAA compliant, etc." and all. But now, yes, we have an act in India. The first question comes to the CIO says, "Is the solution DPDP compliant?" Compliance, okay? Because the moment the patient loses the trust from the hospital, that is the biggest loss to the hospital. So every data, every information of the patient should be secured at every level when we are looking at from the DPDP Act.
Thank you. Thank you. That's quite an insightful, Mr. Kishore. Coming back to you, Wing Commander Bose. As CEO of Amur Hospitals, what do you think? What metrics would you personally track in the boardroom to know if this investment with respect to conversational AI is paying off? No show rates, customer satisfaction rates, or revenue recovery, or anything else it comes into your mind, your perspective.
Dr. Vijay, first thing I would like to say is that I would not be interested much in the software performance, nor will I be much interested in measuring the AI by activity metrics. If I say that my AI has handled 50,000 calls, that might sound impressive, but it doesn't tell me whether my hospital has performed better or does my
Absolutely.
hospital has done well. So to make my hospital better, I would have to create a dashboard, and wherein I would like to focus on outcomes. The first metric is appointment adherence. Has a no show reduced? Has the missed opportunity been captured? Has the delays of the patient wait time has been reduced or not? How has it affected and how has it impacted the hospital efficiencies? That is what I would like to see. Second is a follow up compliance. Are more patients returning for reviews, completing treatment plans, and remaining connected with their clinicians? Is that what I would focus on to measure? So, the outcome measurement is most important to ensure that continuity of care is improved, ultimately, which leads to a better clinical outcome. So, that is what I would like to say. Third, I would closely monitor patient experience. That's the most important. Whether the implementation of conversational AI has improved my patient experience in my visiting the hospital, that is what I would like to measure as a positive outcome. Because from the outcome will always come the impact. So healthcare is emotional. So patients remember how easy it was to reach us, how quickly they have received their answers to the question that they had given us, whether they felt supported through the journey that they had taken through this hospital, whether starting from a call from outside, then coming to this hospital and going through this entire journey within the hospital. If conversational AI improves accessibility without compromising empathy, that's a meaningful success for me. So internally, I would review staff productivity and engagement. Are our front office teams spending less time in repetitive administrative work, or they are still engaged more with the patient in interacting with them? Or my time, the time solving my real patient problems is taken care of, then that directly improves both employee satisfaction and service quality. So these are the outcomes I would focus on. And lastly but not the least, financially I would monitor the revenue realization through fewer missed appointments. If my missed appointments can be reduced and more amount of patient footfall has been increased because of the question that has been answered positively and they have felt good about the hospital, that would be a positive outcome. Better scheduling efficiency and stronger patient retention would be the focus, and that would be the outcome that I would be measuring. So these are tangible business outcomes which I would measure. Ultimately, however, the most important question is simple: are we making healthcare easier for patients? Is the implementation of conversational AI improving the patient care and patient satisfaction? That is the most important factor. Hospitals do not exist to answer phone calls. The staff is not here to do that. So most of the time goes away in this. And if the conversational AI can take away all of that, I think we have reached a very positive phase of hospital care in terms of patient care. So these things improve lives, these things improve the outcomes, and that is what I would measure. If conversational AI helps us and delivers more timely communication, strengthen patient trust, which was just being spoken about, and gives our caregivers more time to focus on healing, then the investment has generated exactly the kind of return that belongs to every boardroom. So that is what I would be monitoring sitting in my office, right? So these are the things that I would say staff experience is very important. And finally, I would say that the true return of investment that we are talking about of voice AI is not measured only by rupees. It is measured in minutes, returned in caregivers, anxiety reduction for patient care, the trust build-up that we can do, and families for them, and outcomes improved through timely communication. This is what I think the conversational AI will bring to board, and this is what every hospital I think would be looking forward while they implement the conversational AI. And that is what I too will be looking forward to.
Absolutely agree, Wing Commander Bose. It is focusing on outcomes, revenue realization, and more importantly, integrating staff towards better performance. I completely agree with you. Let me come back to you, Sudhakar. Sudha, are you there? Yes, Sudha, we both agree in the last couple of years, KIMS hospitals have done major things towards improving the patient experience. So, how do you manage consistency in patient experience when rolling out this voice AI across multiple hospital hospitals under one group? Because as a coup, you're handling so many hospitals. So, your thoughts on this?
Dr. Sudhakar, you're on
Please
mute.
unmute.
You're on mute.
Sudha, please unmute. Sudha, I suggest probably you can log out and rejoin. In the meanwhile, let me get back to Dhruv. Dhruv, coming back to you, your product Pipe AI. How does this Pipe AI think about multilingual voice AI often harder than it looks? What's been the biggest technical hurdle in making conversational AI work reliably across Indian languages and accents? Because we know currently, even in Hyderabad itself, there are so many accents and so many kinds of this one. Where your pipe AI or this conversational AI, would it be able to decipher all the languages and able to give us the correct conversation, what actually the patient is expressing? Your views.
And thank you for the question. I would like to start my answer with a Hindi proverb. India is such a country where people say कि कोस कोस पर बदले पानी, चार कोस पर बदले वाणी, which like roughly translates to that every 10 kilometers you find a new accent, new dialect. So it's a very challenging thing. And if I say that Pipe AI solves every language, I'll be straight up lying, which I would not. We can't solve all the languages right now. We are in the process of doing it. Uh, we support most major languages like English, Hindi. We started with our roots in Bangalore helps us learn, and our AI gets trained on Kannada. We mostly are active in metro cities where accents are more recognizable, whether it's around Kannada, Telugu, Tamil, Gujarati, and Marathi. We support mainstream accents of these languages very well. We do make some mistakes in capturing some of the slangs and some of the accents, and we are working towards it. Uh, the major challenge which I would say we face as a company, as an Indian company, is when you talk about our global counterparts, we get enough English data because the whole internet is in English. That it's easier for them to train their models on and get super accurate on understanding multiple languages. In India, since the native language speaker base is so small across state, so small in terms of data training. Otherwise, it's not. But it's so small that it's taking us time to painstakingly train our models on every dialect. Like even Hindi has like hundreds of dialects. Even in like you rightfully said, like in Hyderabad, the accent changes completely. So the combination of accent, dialect, then localized words makes it extremely difficult. So far, what we have worked out a model which is working well for us is we serve mostly hospitals in metro cities as of now, where we have the mainstream accents figured out. Our models accurately capture or transcribes the emergency needs of these patients. We are very carefully and patiently working towards developing our models for tier two cities. I would say it will still take us like an year and a half. We are in the process. We have hired like local nurses, local data annotators who are helping us build these databases, which in turn will train our models to capture this. And to be honest, we also don't want to rush it because every wrongly captured information could be deadly in such a field. And like AI or technology aside, at the crux of it, no startup, no company wants to cause any harm, including us. So we are in the process of doing it. So far, we capture like some 7, 8 languages, their mainstream accents, which works very well in metro cities.
That's a Herculean effort, Dhruv, because you need to do a lot of validation whenever you are trying to get this database. Until unless it is properly validated, you cannot get into the system. As you said, one wrong conversation, one wrongly expected conversation might lead to a deadly outcomes. So we have to be very, very careful. Thank you for that. Sudha, let me come back to you. I was saying that in the last couple of years, Kim's Hospitals has put in a lot of efforts towards improving the patient experience. We have done a lot of new methodology, new protocols has been brought into this. So, how do you manage consistency in patient experience when rolling out this voice AI across multiple hospitals under one group? What exactly you should be looking at?
So, of course, for us, patient satisfaction or patient experience has always been supreme.
Are you audible?
Absolutely. I'm audible?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I think there is some problem with Dr. Vijay's speakers, I guess. So what I was saying that, from a KIMS hospital perspective, I think patient experience and patient engagement or patient satisfaction has always been supreme. In fact, a couple of years now, the annual board discussion actually starts with the patient satisfaction scores rather than your, P&L sheets over there. So I think from that perspective, there's there is absolutely no compromise as far as patient satisfaction is concerned. But as I told you, I think from a conversational AI perspective, especially from the voice perspective, I think we are still, very nascent. We are taking baby steps in terms of, implementing that. I think for me, too early to comment the outcomes. But yeah, I mean, from a conventional model, if you ask me about patient satisfaction, I think, I can have a debate on this. Sure. Dr. Vijay, I think Dr. Vijay's screen is frozen.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, Sudha.
There's relogging again.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sudha.
Yes, Dr. Vijay. So I think your screen was frozen. Sure.
Thank you, Sudha. Thank you for that. Gentlemen, it's been great interacting with you. The conversational AI is not merely another digital tool. It represents a fundamental shift in how the hospitals engage with people. If implemented thoughtfully, it can make healthcare more accessible, personalized, efficient, and equitable. But technology alone cannot create patient centered hospitals. Success depends on combining AI with empathy and sound governance and clinical excellence. As the esteemed panelists have already mentioned, the hospitals that led in the coming decade will be those that use AI to amplify the human touch, not replace it. Thank you to our panel for such a grounded, practical conversation spanning the CEO's infrastructure lens, the COO's revenue lens, clinical lens, the governance lens, and the builder's lens. A big thank you to you, Dhruv, for the Pipe AI for powering this session. To our audience, if you are evaluating voice AI for your hospital, then start with a narrow, measurable use case. Get your uh, cybersecurity guardrails right from the day one, and don't underestimate the multilingual gap. Thank you all for joining this DHN Town Hall.